I started sewing very young. My mother was a fashion designer, and she was always sewing. She made everything for the house, so I was literally under her sewing machine pressing the pedal for her. And that must have been 6 or younger. But I didn't really, and I sewed some hand things with her, but I didn't start machine sewing until we had it in school in Boston, I think about 5th grade. And it just exploded. My father bought me a sewing machine when I was 9, which was wild. I didn't know how to use it, and I just think he really just thought that it was something to pursue since my mother did it. And it took off. I just started making coats and things. We were doing aprons in school, and then I was doing lined plaid capes, and then I was doing fake fur coats in 6th grade and 7th grade, and I would just do, my home ec teacher would help me make different projects instead of just kerchiefs and aprons and things. So I just loved it, and I think my father was the biggest supporter. He would just buy me fabric all the time, and I would sew all day, and he would come home and I'd still be in my pajamas sewing. So I started from there, and of course I took all the classes I could take at sewing schools and inside high school and grade school. It was nice they had home ec way back then in younger, elementary school. But, now they don't have it. And then, of course, I wanted to be a fashion designer. So I only applied to one school, Pratt Institute, and I went there and got a bachelor's fashion design. And then I worked in New York City in the garment industry for many years, 9 or 10 years, and worked with some designers like Koos van den Akker and Kathy Hardwick and some of the big companies. And then I moved to Columbus, Ohio, and I met my husband, and we married. I went back to school, and I got a teaching certificate. So I taught home ec in high school, grade school, middle school, and high school, but mostly high school, and I loved it. I loved teaching the sewing part and the cooking part, the hands-on, practical things, and I did that for a while. And then I had my babies, so I stayed home with the babies, but can't just do nothing. I was sewing a lot for them. And I came up with a new technique, and I called it fabric origami, and that's how I wrote my first book. And the machine companies were very supportive, and I sold a lot, and I started traveling and teaching, and I didn't realize that they had teachers that travel around the world, the country, and I loved it. And all these sewing conventions, it was, heaven. Well, when I started teaching at these different conventions all across the country, I started getting connections with different sewing machine companies, which I didn't even know that was possible. And everybody wanted you to use their machines and this kind of thing. And really, in the Midwest, there's a lot of BERNINAs. And when I first saw them, I thought it was like a Mercedes. It was just, step up from what I had. A lot of steps up from what I had, quality machines. And when I was writing some books and publishing books, they took an interest in me. They really actively look for teachers and different talent, and they come on, they approach you, and they talk to you, and they want you to work with them. So I worked with Joyce, who was many years ago, and she really encouraged me to write this book about Koos van den Akker and how we do this collage style. And so I did that, and I started using their machines, and loved them. It was just wonderful, and that's it. From then on, no more switching brands. I think the first thing that was really impressive when you try a BERNINA, if you haven't tried it before and you've tried other machines, is the feet and all the accessories. It's just so much easier. For example, I used to do pin tucks the old way. You draw a line, you press it, you hope you stitch it exactly close to the edge, but it's sort of hit or miss. And then you find out there's a foot where you put the foot on, you press the pedal, the gas, it goes, and you don't even have to have your hands on it. It was just incredible. I was doing heirloom sewing in the beginning when I had children, and all of the feet just made everything so easy. You really couldn't fail. And I think that's what I tell people is that if you buy a better machine, better than what you are, it's easier. If you're a beginner sewer, they think we should buy a little machine that doesn't do much, but the more you can get, the easier it is to sew. Well, personally, I think they have been so encouraging, and they are just so supportive, and they're really looking to make connections with the artists in the industry, because they know we're the ones who go out and talk to the students and tell them what the difference is, and we can promote the machine, but not from a sales perspective, but from your personal passion for the machine. And we've sewn on everything, and we know the differences. But other companies don't reach out, I think, to the artists as much as this, to really try and make a bond and a connection with the industry. But it's not hard, because the machines are wonderful and everybody loves the machines, but they just take the extra step, and I think everybody appreciates it too. They love to have some support and some interaction, and these different meetings where we can get together and share ideas and find out what's new with you. Really, we need to find out what's new before anybody else, so we can say, oh, don't get this they're making a model that's coming out, and you can use this foot if you really love to do this. And if they support us, it's easy to spread the word. I really like to have the interaction with the company, to know all the educators, to work with the staff, and then with these meetings we get to meet all the other ambassadors, which when we teach or someplace we don't really get to talk to them, sometimes a little bit, but not at this level all day for hours. I think what I really like is just being recognized and supported, and seeing what's new and it's different. And I feel like we could really talk to you if we say, oh, we really need a foot that does this. You'll listen, you'll think about it, and I've seen you create to people's needs, and it's really amazing. But it's a way to keep the industry alive and to keep this company priority over some other machine companies with the innovation, but listening to the people that really know what they want, because they are such intense users at so many hours.